There's so many things that are just rankable in Elden Ring. Like it's such a meme that I'm gonna start ranking Blades of Grass soon, but I don't even need to do that because there's so much shit you can just rank in El because it's just a game. It has so much shit in it.
In Dark Souls 3, I ranked all the waifus.
I still haven't went near NPCs. Yeah,
Yeah, you can
no
rank all,
waifus, no NPCs, no side quests. I haven't went anywhere near that shit.
and you can rank them according to, fuckability. You can rank them according to how much of a douchebag they are. And here's the question. On the douchebag
Adam and
scale.
Eve, when are you gonna sponsor me? Ranking every Elden Ring NPC by how much you how frequently or infrequently you would fuck them. Sponsored by Adam and Eve.
Where would the Dung Eater be on that list?
You know, I hate to say it, it would probably be different for everyone.
I mean, it's nice to know that a certain fetish is
I want
represented
to
in the
assume
game.
last. I personally would. This list is not objective. I personally would put him last.
Well, you heard it here. You heard it here first, folks. You just got a little sneak peek at Rusty's next video.
Oh God, every NPC like that would be that's like something that would just be another fucking weapons video. Like it sounds like something that would start off like funny because like, oh, ranking all the NPCs by how much you would fuck that, but like by NPC number 300 you're just like, can we stop? This isn't funny anymore.
How many NPCs in the game is there really? But how many?
Probably not 300, but
How many
definitely a lot.
friendly NPCs? Because you don't count people like Moongrum.
Okay, so we're not counting invaders. Do we count the ghosts?
The ghosts?
Like the spirit things that are like hanging out, like you can occasionally talk to them. They're like kind of ephemeral or whatever.
Yeah, ghosts.
Do we count those guys?
I wouldn't say so because
They're almost never important.
my penis would never really. I don't think my penis would feel
That's
anything,
true.
right?
That's true, yeah.
So if it
Oh,
can't get
fuck.
you off, then what's the point?
I think people who have known me long enough will know for a fact that like,
You
no matter
fuck
what I
ghosts.
say. No. That was, well, maybe.
Depends on the ghost, I guess.
I think most people will end up guessing, like, just because of how many references I've made in past videos.
Yeah.
Millicent's obviously going to be number one. Dung Eater's obviously going to be second or third to last, probably not last. I'm sure there's some other guy or girl that I'm not thinking about
I mean,
at the moment.
I suppose if we added bosses to this, then if you had sex with Melania, you
Well,
might
then I'm not
get
getting sponsored by anybody.
You're gonna get
then I'd have
space
to-
AIDS.
Then I'd have to fuck dragons and shit. Yeah, Estelle's gonna give me space AIDS and I'm gonna die.
Estelle would probably be like sentient anal beads.
What the fuck is this podcast? What, didn't we have a topic?
Oh, we were going to have a topic, but this is Discord with the boys, everybody. Oh, I should do the intro. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Discord with the boys. Today's boys are Lost and Rusty. Hi, Rusty. How you doing?
Hi.
This is very late.
Wow,
into
thanks
the
for having
podcast.
me on, Lost. Welcome to the podcast.
You're welcome. I'm basically
So happy to get
milking.
started.
I'm basically milking you for content, so we're fine.
Hey. Yeah, we kind of milked each other for content because I basically came to you after like 3 years of not messaging you. I was like, hey, you have any footage we could use for this one video?
Oh yeah, well, you know what? Let's talk about that then, because how we got to know each other, and I say no in the loosest of terms, really, because what happened was I woke up one day and I looked at my YouTube channel and I had all of these subs. Where did they come from? Turns out,
All of these tier 3 subs.
dude, if I got 300.
Oh, I know what you're about to mention. Holy shit, I completely forgot about this.
You forgot about it. You got me 300 subs, man.
I completely forgot about this.
You did a shout out.
I know what you're gonna mention. Yeah,
Why?
it was my 200K thing. Cause I thought your channel was cool.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know why I said I thought. There's no thinking. I'm just telling you the facts.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and because you did that, I was kind of in the process of making a parody video of Dark Souls 3. It was Dark Souls
Yeah,
3 in quarantine, and to this very day, I believe
that was a fun video.
that was probably my favorite video I have ever done, if I'm going to be honest with you. It just came together so well, and I had all
Get a
of these.
spear.
Maybe I'll even just put it in here, because the more people that see it, the better. Yeah.
Yeah, just might as well link it below at this point.
And from there on, we didn't talk for another 3 years, did we?
No, we didn't.
No.
It felt like 6 months or something because time has, time has the weird, the weird thing where it goes by very quickly, but also inhumanly terribly slowly at the same time.
Yeah, I know, man. It's because we're old now. When you're a kid, how old are you, by the way?
I'm not even that old. I'm 28.
Oh Jesus!
So like I'm old, but like
I'm 35.
Holy shit!
No, why don't say it like that? You're like, oh, this man is 5 years away from the grave.
For YouTube standards, I think like in an environment where everyone gets to like 40 and they're just like, oh, I'm fucking done with this shit. Like,
well, I would much rather spend my time playing Elden Ring and streaming Elden Ring and making videos than spending a single day more in that goddamn office.
That's a good point. Like this job really is like an ace in the hole. And like when we were people who made livings off of this shit when they were in like their early 20s. I think it was popular to say like, oh, once I get to like 30 or 35, I'll probably hang it up. But then you realize like 10 years later, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything else anyway.
Of course.
But two, I don't know if I can.
You have no real life skills.
The economy's in the fucking toilet. It's not even that. I mean, because like you can edit, you can like design things like graphically. Like you have a semblance of a skill set.
Yeah.
You have like a skill set that you wrote down on a napkin that you could show people. Like
yeah.
Like it's not much, but you have something.
How long?
But
have
like
you
as
been...
time goes, it's just I've been trapped in this hole for 12 years.
Oh, because I know this is really interesting. Because I went to your YouTube channel.
I'm the real fossil.
Yeah. Well, you have done this for 12 years. I have done this for about 7, I think 7 years since I started taking it seriously. And I've only been doing this full time since Elden Ring came out. I want to say 2 months, 3 months after Elden Ring came out, I was doing this full time because, there was just so many views and it was just so many subs.
Yeah.
It just got crazy. But
I had that kind of happen with Hollow Knight back in the day.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff to go through because when I sort your channel from oldest to newest, the first video that pops up, and that's 9 years ago. So you have some sneaky videos unlisted there, dude.
9 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, what video was it?
The first video on your list here is Burnout Paradise, the darker side of the disc.
Whoa, is this a fucking content cop all of a sudden? What's going on?
No, look, man, I was just really curious about your YouTube journey, and I can tell that 9 years ago you made a video, and you made a series even called The Darker Side of the Disc. Tell me about that.
Well, I guess it's kind of like you. Like 12 years is like a loose number. I didn't start taking it like seriously until probably I guess when that video was uploaded, because that was the first episode of a series. God damn, Darker Side of the Disc. Holy shit. First of all, the title itself is outdated because nobody uses fucking discs anymore.
I was about to say!
So, elephant in the room.
Yeah.
It's been dead in the water for a few years for that reason alone.
Well, I think it is a really cool... If outdated name aside, it's a really cool series, man.
I think it... Yeah, thanks. I think there could be like a thing for it, like a market for it today, but it's just like, do you okay?
Mm-hmm.
We're going down a bit of a rabbit hole here, but do you remember a game that came out in 2014 called PT?
Of course I do. I still have my PlayStation 4 with PT on it.
So do I. I have my OG PS4 with OG PT on that shit.
Amen, brother.
I'm looking at it right now. It's in my like office space, just like sitting in a corner.
Same with me. It's right next to a signed copy of the Hyrule Historia and a mask I bought in Venice.
I love how sentimental like it like you can detect the sentimental value of it by the objects you have around it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, here's an autographed $5,000 guitar by fucking I can't even think of a cool guitarist, Van Halen or something. And right next to it is my PS4 that has PT on it. They are basically one and the same.
So what's up with PT then for you?
When that shit got canceled, all the spirit for that series just fucking left. Like I had another person in my family actually. He was working on it with me and we were like both really hopeful about it.
Yeah.
And then right up until that point when the shit with Kojima happened and he basically got shafted,
Yeah.
all of the spirit for that series just went up in flames like immediately.
And that sucked so hard, man, because you could tell that was gonna be a banger of a game.
And now they're like trying to remake it, and at this point I'm just like, who fucking cares? Like,
But
it's by Bloober Team, okay? It's gonna fucking suck.
those are the guys.
Sorry,
who...
hot take.
Well, it's not actually that much of a hot take. I
It's
think
not. Everyone knows they're pieces of shit. I'm not breaking any barriers by saying that.
they are the people behind what's the painting video game?
Blair Witch. Layers of Fear.
Layers of Fear. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, where like every scene in every inch of that game was like taken or air quotes inspired from somewhere.
Well, I didn't know about that, but I know that when I played it, my big issue was it was a one-trick pony, and it kinda used that trick up so much that the pony was emaciated by the end of it. You walk down a hallway, you hear like a sound, you turn around, and you turn around again, and boom, ooh, the hallway's gone.
Yeah, they literally took the scene from PT where it was like you see like the twitching woman on the other side of the hallway, and then you walk toward it, and suddenly the light goes off, and like, oh, what am I supposed to do? I guess I better walk toward it again.
Yeah,
I
that's...
just think, but they ruin it by letting the jump scare happen anyway. Like they ruin the payoff of it because you're supposed to like not let anything happen, and the lights are supposed to come back on, and nothing's supposed to be there.
But how does this relate to your YouTube journey, though?
Because I felt I took that as a sign from the powers that be that nobody really cared about shit being scary anymore.
Mm.
And I really wanted to do that with Darker Side of the Disc. I really wanted to like it was one of those things where like you wanted to see what you could get away with by YouTube standards, but not in like an edgy way.
Yeah.
Like you really wanted to see what you could get away with, how scary and demented and fucked up you could be, and like the stories you covered and the games, like the darker side of the games that you like talked about and stuff.
And you had
and
some
then once the shift started happening, I was like, okay, I don't think I can get away with this anymore.
but you had some solid success. The first Darker Side of the Disc, that is currently on the channel, has 100,000 views, and then the second episode has 1.2 million views.
Oh, the Borderlands episode. That was a fun. That was a fun video. I still get comments talking about how painful it was trying to watch me quick scope the rack in the game. Well, I'm very proud that that's the one thing people remember from that video.
Well, if we move further on, there's another Portal Darker Side of the Disc, 214,000, another Portal 2, 247,000. Yeah, no, you just have tons and tons.
Yeah,
and
like
tons
people
of success
liked
there.
it.
Yeah,
it was cool shit. And then I think one day it just like I don't want to say it stopped getting views, so we stopped being interested, because I think that's the obvious answer that like people are waiting to hear, just so they can be like, oh yeah, so you're not like a. I mean, and obviously that's gonna be part of it no matter what. But like, I think something just happened, like somewhere around 2015 to 2016. The spirit just kind of left the project completely.
Yeah, you lost passion
And
for
it
it.
started with PT getting canceled because we kind of just took that as a sign. I was like, okay, so there's no one's going to be interested in this now.
And there it is. We came full circle. We actually had the point with all of that meandering. Well done, sir. Well done. You said something though that I'm actually really interested in. You said we.
Oh yeah, there used to be a second half of the channel, back until like 2017 ish, maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2016.
So you were two people, because you used to be Rusty the Superforge.
Yeah, we were a dynamic duo.
Did you just did he stop caring? Did he move
He just
on?
kind of stopped caring. He had a kid, and then his life became over.
Oh yeah, well he was forced to grow up, and
Pretty
if
much, yeah. He was forced to become an adult, and he had to go off and get a real job that wasn't YouTube.
that paid more, yeah,
LOL.
I suppose that is good for him.
Plus, he also just saw where the direction of YouTube was going at the time, and he was like, I don't want to be a part of this.
So when did you go full time then?
I think we had already kind of been full time for a couple years at that point because we started doing shit with TGN. God rest their souls.
TGN.
Yeah, the goddamn network. That's not what it's.
Oh,
That's not what it means.
you got into a network?
That's not what it means. Technically, yes. We got into a network at 2000 and fuck, I think it was 13. I think they were named Collective Digital Studio,
Yeah.
and I can shit talk them as much as I want to because they are out of business. I think they've been out of business for a while.
Well, let me contribute to that. All of those multi-channel networks, or MCNs, I believe they are called, they are trash.
Kill them.
They
Kill 'em
are
all.
parasites. They do absolutely nothing, and they just sit there and they collect a percentage of
I
money.
will say there's one caveat to this,
What?
which I am still with BBTV. I want to tack on an unfortunately to that, but it's like the rev split is like basically negligible. Like I pretty much earn everything because I spent so much time working for TGN, which is like one of their like IPs, I guess, like one of their YouTube channels, and I just made content for them for like 5 years. So like they were really friendly with the whole, like when TGN got disbanded, they were really friendly with giving me like care packages and stuff to make sure I could still stay afloat.
Okay, well,
And
so there's some nice people there then,
yeah, like
somewhere.
it's very obviously like it's inherently nepotistic and it sucks. And I should have just left.
Because I
But like they do give you some nice stuff. Like if a video gets age gated or something, you can contact them and just be like, hey, can you like unfuck this please?
yeah,
And
they have
they'll do
some
it.
pull.
Yeah.
Because I know I have a few friends. Prod was part of Machinima for a while, and he started super young.
Oh fuck.
And they got when Machinima went down, he didn't have any monetization. Luckily, I think when Machinima went down, YouTube stepped up and they processed a lot of those applications real quick.
Yeah.
But I also had another dude, another friend, who was part of one of those things. And just one day, he got an email where they were like, hey, dude, so we are going to increase our take of the revenue. It was a 15-85 split. Now it's going to be a 60-40. And they took 60. So,
Yeah. It's like like at the end of the day, like MCNs will only help you if you already have like an established following. One, because they want to help themselves out more than anything, and two, they're afraid of doing anything negative to you if your audience is too big. So like, it's only a matter of time until BBTV eventually comes to me and they're just like, hey, we're taking all your money, and at that point I'm just gonna like leave.
Dude, that
Like,
reminds
it's
me.
inevitable at this point. I'm waiting for an opportunity to leave.
Even MatPat from Game Theory had a situation with their MCN where they basically stole like $1 million from a bunch of creators. And he's one of the biggest YouTubers, one of the most...
MatPat, H3H3, Most big names that have been around for a while have had some problem with MCNs.
That is a dead end. If anybody here is wanting to be a YouTuber and you get contacted by somebody, just say no, kids. Say no
Yeah,
to drugs and
just
to MCNs.
there's just no need for it anymore. The only risk I would imagine it posing is that you would be slightly more helpless than you would be already if you got like age gated or if you got a video demonetized or something. And there's the only person you could ask to help you at that point would be YouTube themselves, and they're as stubborn as ever.
Sure, but you're doing this full time now. When did you go proper full time? When did you feel you were like, okay, all my eggs are in this basket?
Probably after I had been with TGN for I think 3 years. We did a lot of Overwatch videos, and those started taking off, and they didn't stop. And I was like, okay, am I doing this, or like I went an entire year just going back and forth because I was still in college at the time.
Yeah.
I went an entire year just going back and forth of like doing college and the channel at the same fucking time, and I was like, which one am I doing?
But these videos, they're not on your channel. They're on a different one?
Yeah, they're on yeah, just look up TGN. They're on there.
Okay, gross, but I will do it for you.
Yeah, just make sure you have ad block on. It doesn't matter. They don't make videos anymore. It's fine.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see there's Overwatch 2 years.
Literally just look up TGN Rusty. All my videos will pop up.
TGN Rusty. So you were doing this for a different... Oh yeah, there you are. I see you. I see you there. And you're doing this for a different company. That is not where I thought this conversation would go, because, you know, I got into the whole YouTube thing, I don't want to say late, but it took a while for me to get it going, and when I was actually going, I had already heard all of these horror stories, and, you know, it's just best to focus on yourself.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, this little venture was also a long time coming, because I started YouTube with an intent to take it seriously in like 2011. And this was, yes, so I'm like old hat.
How old were you? You're 28 now?
I was fucking 16, dude.
All right, look at that.
I hopped on that shit early. I knew where that was going.
Yeah.
And eventually, like the time with TGN you're seeing is the time where that finally all like paid off and everything, because I had wanted to take it seriously for a while. I just wasn't. And stuck with them for a few years, and then I guess when 2020 came around, I want to say this in good faith. I want to say that the circumstances surrounding that year, just everybody fucking lost money, and they just had to make cuts where they had to, basically. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there.
Yeah, well,
I want to assume good faith.
And from there on, you moved to your own channel. So when you moved to your own channel, then were you still able to be full time? Was that a bit of a oh no moment, or?
That's the thing. I think what happened was it actually worked. It actually worked out in my favor really well, because I had spent so much time cultivating an audience on TGN for the past 5 years that kind of liked what I was doing, and they liked how I like described shit, just like being really creative with jokes and everything.
Yeah.
Like channeling my inner zero punctuation or whatever you want to call it.
That is a great thing to channel.
I guess I cultivated so much of a following that when I started my own channel, everyone just went over there. I don't want to say I definitely put more time into my own channel after that because I had nothing else to do. But the amount of people, the amount of eyes on me just in general definitely increased exponentially, like after that venture was over. So I can only assume that a lot of people who got into that channel like via my content eventually just discovered that I had my own channel, and they were like, oh, this guy's doing his own thing. Let's just fucking go watch him.
Well, that's really cool, because that means that even though you were making videos for a different channel, you were basically an employee. That means you didn't waste that time. You were still building up your reputation, you could say.
Yeah, which is really good, because I thought I was wasting my time, and it turns out I wasn't.
Well, that is quite frankly amazing.
Yeah, I'm the luckiest motherfucker on the face of the planet. If you're watching this and you have dreams of becoming a content creator, first of all, don't. And second of all, don't just assume your life pathing is going to be the same as mine, because I just stumbled into fucking money is all I did.
Dude, yeah. I could compare this to my own journey. I already told you I went full time with Elden Ring, but I had the other channel. I have another YouTube channel that I worked on for quite some time, and I did mostly Dark Souls 3 content. I did trolling content where I killed people in funny ways.
Yeah. Yeah, you've always been a PvP sort of person.
Yeah. Eventually, though, that well kind of ran dry creatively, if nothing else. It was like, okay, I'm making all of these
Not
videos.
monetarily. Not money wasn't a problem.
Oh no, money was a real fucking problem as well, dude. Let me tell you this.
No, I know how it goes.
The highest grossing or the highest earning month I had on my first channel was $800 dollars. That was 1 month. And
hey, you could buy a house with that for like a month, for like 2 weeks, for like a day.
If I was living in fucking 1920, then yeah, sure, maybe, but
maybe not even then.
Maybe not. The thing was,
get you a box somewhere in New York.
That's gonna be a very cheap box, quite frankly. House prices, am I right, kids?
Hey, don't buy a fucking house, idiot. It's 2023.
Yeah, we're pandering to the youth now, but to make a long story short...
Pandering to the youth. I'm 28.
Long story short, I got creatively burnt out. The videos I spent a lot of time working on after that didn't do as well, and so I was like, oh, screw this. So I went over to streaming for a while, and it wasn't full time, but it was
on Twitch, or
yeah, on Twitch.
Like still here.
Well,
okay.
First I streamed on YouTube, and then I took a break over Christmas, and I shouldn't have done that, because when I took the break, I had like 800 people watching, and then when I came home, I went down to like 200.
You had 200.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that was super frustrating. So I had to just reset my mind for a little while. Then I created a second channel so I could just upload shit, and the main point of the main point was just highlights.
Slop.
Yeah, just post highlights on there, and eventually when Elden Ring came up, I had like one video that did really well, and I thought, why not just make another one? And I spent a little extra time on it because I felt like I should. But I actually got a lot of time to do that because during one of my Twitch streams, and we're talking about luck here. Remember, kids, this is luck.
Yeah, this is not life advice.
Yeah.
Don't.
I was streaming on Twitch, and I caught the eye of a Canadian crypto millionaire.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
No. During the last 2 weeks of October, he donated approximately $26,000 to me.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. It was.
Damn, boy. That's a lot of money.
It was $9,000 in one stream.
I have only ever gotten that much in a single stream for charity.
Yeah, no, this was for me to spend on hookers and cocaine, dude.
Yeah. Charity of you.
So I was like, oh my fucking god, what is happening? And well, long story short, honestly, I think he's a great guy, but at the same time, I haven't talked to him in a while because I think he's bipolar, and it might have been a manic phase.
Oh well, let's not assume here.
Oh, there's there is certain evidence to it.
There's evidence.
But thanks to his kindness, no matter what, I managed to.
That's a full-on business investment right there.
Yeah, exactly. He bought me the most important thing that anybody can buy, which is time. And with that time, I then started doing, proper YouTube content again. And boom, here I am. So there's a lot of skills that you can learn, but boy howdy, you also need to be fairly lucky.
Such as learning to appreciate opportunities when they quite literally fall in your lap.
What do they say? Luck is a mixture of opportunity and preparation. I had already built a YouTube channel on to 90,000 at that point, so I was like, okay, I have
Fortune
some skills.
favors the lucky, or whatever the fuck.
The bold.
Fortune favors the lucky.
You have a way with words, Rusty. I will give you that.
Thank you.
I can tell why you've been so successful.
I tried not at all.
Hmm.
It's the ADHD talking like 95% of the time.
Well, your ADHD has been turned into a superpower then, because again, you're quite successful. Why Souls though?
I just kind of got into it. Like it was one of those moments where I was like, I've been playing these games for a while. I started playing, I think Bloodborne was my first Souls inheritor kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never done videos on it. I just kept doing videos on fucking Overwatch for 5 years up until that point. And I was like, I like these games. Why don't I make shit on them? Like, why don't I do videos? And then I did. And then people weren't interested. I was like, fuck, back to Overwatch and Hollow Knight.
Yeah, because I'm looking.
And then I made a couple Elden Ring videos, like as like a retrospect, not a retrospect, but like the opposite of that. Like before the game came out.
A future
like, what's the shit gonna be on the game? Yeah. And they went absolutely nowhere. And then I revisited Elden Ring when the game came out, and I was like, let's just do a fucking boss list and see what happens.
Yeah.
1.7 million views.
Ooh,
just out of my ass.
Yes, you have a great ass then, because
I felt thankful and hopeless at the same time, if that makes sense.
No, I see, man. I see.
I was like, wow, this really is all you have to do, isn't it?
Lists are incredibly
just make
effective.
A fucking boss ranking.
I talk a lot to smaller YouTubers, and I try to give them advice because I like to add more of them into my stable so that I can emotionally blackmail them when they're successful.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And one guy specifically, he's called Striker Hutasa. I showed him how to make his thumbnails and that type of stuff, and he made a.
I think I've seen a couple of his videos.
Yeah, he does. He does the mech game Armored Core.
Yeah, and yeah, he does some good AC6 stuff.
Yeah, and his latest, not his latest videos, but one video he ranked the different melee weapons in the game. You know, a tier list type video, and he used
That's the one I'm making.
Well, you can compare.
Wait, was it PvP or PvE?
It was PvP.
Okay, that's different.
Yes. Well,
never mind. We're good.
He went from doing like 3,000, which was admittedly very good for his 800 subs, but he went from 3,000 to 30,000 views on that video.
Oh shit!
And he's getting monetized now, and I'm super happy for the guy.
Good shit.
It shows that, you know, if you
just make a boss ranking, yeah, just like if you want to break into a scene, no matter what scene of gaming like it is, like if just make a boss ranking, that's all you have to do.
Yeah, you have to
ignore every other piece of advice you've been given. Make a boss ranking.
Boss rankings, weapon tier lists. That's what you have to make a YouTube channel on, and then
that's how you play the game. Like you spend 6 months making slop. And then you slowly migrate into the good shit that you actually want to make and hope your audience likes it.
Because if you make a video, a very highly edited video that is called Skeletor's Bad Day, where in the intro Skeletor, he does mushrooms, and then that video gets no views because nobody cares about Skeletor in the Souls community.
But people hate you, I guess. I don't know.
Dude, I love that video, and it was so much fun, and I got barely any views, and that was one of my low points. I don't know what are some of your low points?
A lot of my low points on YouTube can basically be summed up to I thought this video was going to be funny, and nobody liked it or cared or even watched it, and it got like 500 views, and I was like, all right, next.
Yeah, dude, I'm like looking at some of your stuff, and you're doing great one moment, and then there's a video here that
Just
goes.
falls on its ass.
Yeah. How about a E3 2019 video where you reviewed it, but it's actually positive, and you got 7.5K views?
E3 2019 probably sucked as much as every other one.
Yeah, probably. But then you make a Doki Doki Literature Club with 3 million views. So
Yeah, and it got age gated, and then it stopped earning money or getting views or doing anything.
Yeah,
Because I showed the scene in it, because you have to, because that's like
yeah,
the whole part of the game. That's the whole point.
yeah. That was a time on YouTube where everybody was absolutely in love with Doki Doki. Undertale was also popping off, I think, at that point.
Doki Doki, Undertale, then Deltarune came along.
Mm.
FNAF. Oh my god, fucking Five Nights at Freddy's. Jesus Christ.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Can we talk about MatPat? I want to talk about why I hate MatPat.
Okay, talk about why you hate MatPat. I don't know where this is going. I don't give a fuck. Let's go.
So, obviously, exaggeration there.
We strongly dislike MatPat then.
I have aged with time.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's how time works. Dipshit. But in, I guess, 2016 was when we started doing, like, because Darker Side of the Disc was still going on, and we still wanted to do some shit with that. And Five Nights at Freddy's, it was obviously just a fucking a streamer game. Like, it was built for streamers and people in their playthroughs to fucking react to it and go and shit like that.
Yeah, I know. You must have been very excited because I'm looking at your channel and you made a teaser for a project there.
Yeah, because like when you get into the lore of it, it actually ended up being kind of cool.
Yeah.
I guess. And I was like, okay, this is the kind of storytelling I can get into. Like, let's make something out of this. Let's go down this road and see where it leads. And I think it was the second video, or the video we did on FNAF 2, where like just like debunking all the lore and stuff. Because this channel and MatPat were both doing very similar content at a very similar time, which is already a bad recipe for disaster to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what happened was our videos on FNAF 2, I think, came out at a very almost the exact same time. I think his came out like 2 or 3 days later. And because the story is what it is, obviously there's not a lot of room for deviation.
Yeah.
As far as like, hey, this happened, this didn't. Like, obviously the videos are going to be very similar. Like, there's no getting around that if you covered the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
But because he had the stronger pull, people eventually found our video like second, like after his,
and they ripped it apart.
It ultimately yielded a bunch of MatPat fanboys saying that we stole theories from MatPat.
Your video was first, though.
Yeah, nobody cared.
Well, that is the stupidity of the internet, my man. I actually had...
That's just how shit works. People on top stay at the top.
Hell, I even had a...
So I don't hate MatPat. I'll retract that. I hate his fans.
Well, that's so much better. It's so much better. I did stop...
Fuck every single one of you. I'm just kidding.
I used to watch a lot of MatPat, and eventually I suppose I phased him out. I don't know. He went way deeper into the lore stuff, and I probably didn't need to watch 75,000 Five Nights at Freddy videos. It might have been that drove me away, quite frankly. So, but yeah, I had a similar experience, and
that does it.
I did a friend of mine, Chase the Bro, he suggested that I do a specific run in Elden Ring where I only level up from the souls or the runes of fallen PvP hosts and phantoms, and
that sounds terrible.
Oh, look, it's not that bad in the beginning. But I added a stupid rule that I had to follow the Fextra Life wiki area progression guide. I had to be at a certain level, and when I got to level 60, leveling up is a complete shit show. It's so random.
If you beat the game, you have to record yourself on Facecam saying how much you like Fextra Life as a source.
In order for me to level up from 60 to 61, I need like 20,000 runes. And the standard host and standard phantom gives you 1,000 runes. And of course, in order to keep the runes, you have to kill them all and beat them all.
Win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only way to really level up here, because you'll just get murdered eventually. You
just have to be a badass.
Well, no, you gotta get lucky and get like a really chunky phantom, and I mean like a high-level phantom, because they drop more souls or more runes. So if you are level 300, you get like 250,000 souls or something like that, and you can use that. But it's all down to goddamn luck. Or you could just be that badass, but it's a painful process. And everybody, got mad at me for copying Chase, even though Chase was the one who pushed me to do this, and he even commented on my video, being like, "Hey, I'm hoping that your journey will go good."
There were like 5 or 6 people who saw that comment, and they just thought Chase was basically being like, "Hey, nice video, butt wipe."
Yeah, you know what? Yes. So in the second episode, I was just like, "Hey, Chase, join me in Discord for a moment." He was like, "Could you remind everybody who it was that made me do this?" Oh yeah, it was me. So there you go. So that fixed itself.
Cleared it up. Right as rain.
But yeah, the internet can be it
just works in binary. Like it's 0 to 1 all the time. If something's a 7, it's a 10. If something's a 3, it's a 1. There's no in between.
Nuance is tossed out of the window, which is unfortunate, but it's generally the world we live in.
I actually think like there's either a 1, it's a 1 or a 10, or it's a dead 5, because I think people who want to push nuance in discussions in environments like this, they end up being too nuanced to the point where they overthink everything just for the sake of trying to get people on board that train.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's either a hard 1 or a 10 or a hard 5, if there is such a thing.
Well, which one of those do you think Lies of P is going to be?
I honestly think it's going to be a hard 5.
You think so?
I think just the right amount of people were interested in it to give it like an establishment, to give it like a fan base prior to when it comes out, which is good for a game to have. Like, it's good for some excitement to be generated. But
yeah.
I think when it comes out, people are, and granted, like, they could change shit in the final release. Like, that thing happens. But I think from what I played of it, I guess I just feel like stylistically, it didn't have a lot going for it. Like, it's basically riding on the coattails of people who want a Bloodborne port on PC. Like, it's trying really hard to be Bloodborne 2, but also a little Sekiro here and there. And I'm just like, this can work, but will it?
So if I was to give it, I would have to go 10 then, because I'm actually super excited for the game. I do agree that it has some issues, especially with some of the feedback that you get from parrying, and the roll is basically not a roll.
Roll is fucking wet paper. Roll is garbage.
It's not really a roll. You're basically an elderly gentleman falling over and breaking your hip. That's basically what that is. But that being said, I have played the demo now 5 times, and I absolutely, the more I play it, the better it feels. I managed to work with the jank in a way, so I'm hoping that if they fix the jank, this might be one of those proper Souls-like that does its thing, gets appreciated for it. Will it have the same impact? Probably not, but it might be remembered as one of the first real proper Souls-likes. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm having, like, I do remain very hopeful for it. I think like we were judging it by extremes earlier, but I personally, I think I would give the demo like a 7. Like, when the game comes out, I'm going to play it, just like as a baseline. Like, I'm going to play it just because I'm into games like that.
And then you rank all the bosses.
And then I'll rank all the bosses if the game's popular. If it's not, I probably won't.
I'll honestly, man, I'll probably rank all the bosses, because I'll do the same thing. I just recently learned how to record video and well, two different videos separately on OBS, so I can actually do a proper playthrough, and I can do I can gather footage at the same time. So, hooray for me, I
Oh yeah,
suppose.
yeah. OBS is getting better at that.
Yeah.
I just recently, I mean like last year, OBS added an update where you can split your audio. So like if you want to record footage with somebody and listen to music at the same time, or like whatever the fuck, just have background noise, it won't pick up.
Porn.
It won't pick if you want to listen to prawn. Because I'm trying to help you out here.
Look, I'm not monetized yet. I don't even have a
Oh,
thousand.
okay.
I don't even have 1,000 subs. Discord with
Oh
the
fuck you! This is on a different channel. Yeah, never mind.
yeah. Look, again, I'm using you, your name brand, your value to bring in
That's
extra
right.
people. That's what
I
I'm
did
doing.
say I was helping you.
Yeah, you are. You are.
But I completely forgot what I was talking about.
Me too. We were going on about porn. No,
Oh,
OBS. Yeah.
They did that new thing where like you can split your audio, your audio sources. So like it won't record your desktop audio, and you can just like mute that shit, but it'll record your mic and the game volume of whatever you have playing, which I think is cool.
It's so good, man. It's so good. OBS is basically half of my workflow at this point.
OBS used to be ass, but it's gotten better. It's gotten way better.
Yeah, those who get, if you're just getting into the content creator game, the first thing you ought to do is learn fucking OBS.
I no longer recommend Shadowplay as a first option. Like go OBS seriously.
Yeah, me neither. Because now, hell, even this is being recorded on OBS, where my mic and your microphone is being recorded on different tracks. Of course, you are going to you are recording yourself. We did the whole clap thing earlier, but
Yeah,
just
it's
in
nice
case.
to come prepared.
Yeah, you are actually the first person who have recorded their own audio.
That's just how I'm used to doing it because I have
You're a professional.
because I know what the people want, and I one that, and two, I'm used to people not being prepared, so I just kind of go into it with like a little extra like mindfulness.
Aww.
Of like,
You're so sweet. I would hug you now. If I wasn't...
it's because I hate people who fucking who drag their feet.
I'll still hug you though, because I imagine that you have a really sweet beard.
I will accept. I just shaved like a week ago. I'm sad.
Oh, why did you do that, man? Did you shave?
I-
Is it clean shaven?
No, I just like trimmed it.
Yeah, well,
It's still a beard. It's just less impressive because like it has to be at a specific length by the winter, so I can hibernate and be warm and eat food and be asleep for 3 months.
that's just what beard men do. I do the exact same thing. I start trimming it.
Wake up, shit, chop trees, fight a bear, go to sleep.
Well, we don't have a lot of bears here in Norway. There's a few of them, but I prefer to fight moose or
a moose
or moose
or a caribou
or a wolverine maybe.
or a mammoth.
Mammoth? Where the hell do you live?
Super Castlevania 4.
Am I going to be allowed to explain what we're doing before you mention things?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna do so anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we are going to be giving you not even top 10 necessarily, but 10 games that we feel that more people should talk about. These are not the best, these are not the worst, these are just interesting games that do something that we like and we want to talk about them. Does that sound fair to you?
I have one specifically. I have one that I think more people should talk about specifically because it's so bad.
Well, you know what? Screw all of that then. Let's go. You go first.
I guess I can't use Super Castlevania 4 then because too many people, not too many, but plenty of people already talk about Castlevania and know what it is. I will tell you a good franchise, a good PS2 franchise that really died off and just doesn't see anything anymore. Fucking Sly Cooper.
Oh yeah.
Three of the most amazing games I had ever played, and then the fourth one just takes all of that, fires it into the fucking sun, and then leaves, and then no other Sly Cooper's made. And
I
I'm just like, this could have been like a Ratchet and Clank style, like it could have rivaled that series, you know?
Yeah, and I never understood why they didn't talk about that game when it came to the most beloved, franchises. But
Because the fourth one sucked.
what did they do so wrong?
It's the whole thing is just it's weird. Like it still tries to. I don't even remember that much of the game. I can't even tell you. I can't even go in depth on why it's bad. I just remember people hated it. I remember that during gameplay, like every 10 seconds, there was like like those idle things that like characters sort of do if you put your shit down for more than like 10-15 seconds, they like start talking to themselves or whatever.
Yeah, the classic.
Sly did that shit while he was moving, like just while you were in gameplay. Every 10 seconds, he would just be like, my ancestor invented this move that one time. He's awesome. And I'm just like, can you shut the fuck up? I'm literally fighting a boss. I'm fighting for my life. And you're just mumbling to yourself about how awesome your family tree is. Like, shut up.
Fair enough. So my first game on this list is Spider-Man, the movie, the game.
Are you talking about the one that got released on PS4?
Oh, it's further back. This was the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man game.
Oh shit, no, I never played those.
The game was actually pretty solid. It had some solid combat. It had some fun web swinging, nothing close to what we have today. But I remember this game for two very specific reasons. One, it has Bruce Campbell's voice in the tutorial. If you don't know, that's the guy from Evil Dead. He's awesome. And he makes fun of you throughout that.
Wait, I do remember this.
Yeah, he makes fun of you in that tutorial.
I remember seeing this. Yeah, I remember seeing the part you're talking about.
I specifically got killed by the first enemy in the game just so I could hear what he had to say, because it took so long for the guy to kill me, and when I did, he just talked real shit to me, and I loved it. And the second thing I want to say is that this game has one of the best secrets of all time. When you beat the game, it allows you to play as the Green Goblin. I mean, all of the missions as the Green Goblin, it changes the game. You're not swinging around, you're flying on the glider, you throw grenades at thugs, and you had this one ability where you run really fast, and there's like fire spitting out from your footsteps. And quite frankly, was like 2 games in one. I love that.
Sounds painful.
Yeah, it probably was.
I miss games that had shit like that in it.
Yeah, well, what's the next one on your list?
Fucking you ever heard of Maximo? You ever played Maximo? It's like this really old Capcom game.
No idea what you're talking about.
Is this really old Capcom series with the PS2. And it was just like I don't even know how to describe it. You were just a knight. It was the most generic PS2 game you could possibly imagine coming out on the PS2. It was a knight. You fought robots and sometimes ghosts. I don't remember the story at all, but the combat was just really fucking fun.
So I'm looking at the cover, and it's a cartoony knight, fighting some skeleton warriors. And it was
Army of Zin, I think, was the one that I played, and then I retroactively went back and played the earlier ones, and they weren't as good.
No.
Yeah. But even at the time it was released, I think it was just one of those underappreciated games that no one cared about until like 10 years later.
So it had fun combat. It had like combos,
you could like fuck around with the square and triangle, and like it would do shit, but the tutorial wouldn't tell you that. You just kind of figured that out, which I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have a parry, I think, but you can like use the shield to block, and you can even like throw your shields like a la Captain America. You can just throw your shield into shit, and it would like bounce onto other enemies.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah, like it was it was a surprisingly in-depth system for a game that was just about a knight fighting robots, and that was it.
All right, you know what? That's fair. You don't need to say anything else. Next on the list for me.
We're just trying to get through these as quickly as
No,
possible.
listen to me, man. Listen to me. I did this with Prod a little while ago, and when I did it with Prod, we spent 1.5 hours talking about this shit.
Yeah, we don't need to go that long.
Yeah, and we already spent
we already have one.
Yeah, we already spent like 50 minutes talking about, your YouTube journey, why you hate MatPat, and all of that good stuff.
The important things.
Yeah, I'm doing you a favor, and it's not like any. Look, these games are probably nobody's gonna go and find them and play them, I think, but we're mentioning them now because they deserve some attention. That being said, my next game on the list, I might talk a little bit more about. It's called Second Sight, and it's from the creators of Time Splitters.
I have not heard of. I've heard of Time Splitters. I haven't heard of this.
All right, so Second Sight is a game where you take control of a psychic guy. I mean, he has telekinesis, he gets healing, he gets the ability to take over other people's bodies, and it's really cool. The game starts you off with amnesia, classic video game stuff, and then you are pushed into a room and you of course have to escape. And now you can walk around and you can interact with things, you can move things around in the environment by targeting them and just ripping them off the wall, scaring the guards, and all of that good stuff. And so you make your way through the levels, and then you have a flashback. And the flashback is you going into this military compound, and you're greeted by a squad of really interesting military guys. They have different personalities. It's really well done. And also, I have a hair on my tongue. I tried to talk through it, but I had like this hair just really tickling my throat. That was bad.
Ugh.
But yeah, they have they have different personalities, and they're all really interesting. And so the game moves back and forth between these perspectives, the present and the past, and the powers that you get are really exciting. For example, you can take control of one bad guy, shoot another bad guy in the leg, and then those two guys starts infighting. So they try to kill each other. You can take you can grab a table.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, you can grab a table.
For a game that came out in 2004, that's pretty cool.
Look, it is amazing what you can do. You can grab a table, use it as a shield. You can eventually level up your abilities. So you can grab like corpses and toss them at people. And some of it was also just really well made from a story perspective because, well, it had the original. I think there was the people that made Perfect Dark, and they made GoldenEye as well. And I don't even want to spoil the twist of the game because it's actually really good and it's worth people looking up. If you want a quality game, it's a little janky, but a quality game from that area, get Second Sight. It is one of my favorite games of all time.
And while you're at it, get Fear 1 for the PlayStation 3. Came out in 2005.
I mean, who hasn't played Fear?
I mean, we're talking about games that don't get love anymore, right?
Well, okay, fair enough. Talk about Fear.
Because the third one sucked so bad that people stopped caring about it.
There is no third game.
Bring it back.
There is no third game.
Bring it back. I mean, there's barely a second one.
There is a lot of things to talk about. What did you enjoy the most about Fear 1?
Everything that Fear 2 and 3 didn't have.
That's very specific.
I like the fact that the AI in that game was so fucking top that MIT literally wrote a paper about it and like published an article and talked about how good the AI was in that game, which like never happens. It never happened and it never happens. Like that's how rare of an occurrence this is.
I know, man. The combat is just so pure. The AI, in conjunction with the amazing level design, created some of the
Yeah.
best encounters. I
It
remember.
just takes the second seat to like what you're seeing. Like you have a shotgun, you have a rifle, you have a pistol, a fucking like who cares? Like the shotgun, the rifle, the pistol. That's what their names are. Who cares about the combat? You shoot things and kill them. Like no one cares about the combat in a game like this. Like it rightfully takes the back seat to what you're supposed to be shitting your pants at.
Yeah, and the lighting in that game, it is, I want to call it iconic. It's very angular. They didn't really have the ability to make it they didn't it wasn't soft like you would expect. It was very angular. It contributed so much. And also, do I have to say, if I say the ladder sequence, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yes, of course you do.
I remember the ladder sequence in Fear 1. I remember how badly Fear 3 butchered it.
Did they? Okay. So in Fair 1,
Well, it was a different ladder sequence, but it was shittier.
well, let's explain this then, because in Fair 1, you move down a couple of ladders, and it's, eventually,
It gets you into the pattern.
yeah, it gets you into the pattern. When you grab onto a ladder, your character turns around and you go down. It's like a mini cutscene, and just randomly, the pale ghost girl arrives and looks at you in the face, and there's this sting, and I probably shit my pants so hard that my head went through the ceiling.
That was such a good fucking scene. And then Fear 3 fucks it up by just it fucks it up in the stupidest way. You go up the ladder instead of down. Which is obviously a problem.
So, do you see the legs first, or is she?
You literally see the rest of her body first before her face.
Yeah, that's not great. I mean, if she was on all fours, maybe that could have been something, but
Just her face. You don't even need anything. You just like it was a fucking PS3 game. The lighting was dark enough. You could have gotten away with just a model of her face floating in the ether and no one would have noticed.
that's disappointing.
Why did you put her whole body in there? It didn't need to be.
Well,
You go up the fucking ladder. I completely forgot about how stupid that game was. Oh my god.
Okay, so that's one horror game. Here's another. Resident Evil 1, the GameCube remake. We talk about all these other remakes nowadays. There's, of course, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4 just came out. But the first Resident Evil 1 remake is stellar. It is super scary. And did it scare you as a kid?
The very first one, I think it came out, I think, before I was allowed to play games like that because I grew up in a really conservative household.
Also, yeah, you were also a baby. I forget about that. I'm 7 years
Yeah.
older than you.
Yeah, I was 7 years old when the first one came out.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's fair. I was 14, so that makes yeah, that's something. I used to play that game and listen to Thug Lovin' by Ja Rule and Bobby Brown.
Nice.
Well, so the original Resident Evil 1 was for the PlayStation 1, and so of course it had PlayStation 1 graphics. That game is still like a masterpiece for what it was. But the GameCube remake, it had all of these pre-rendered graphics, and so they could make that game look intense. And this game also have it's not a ladder sequence, but there is this hallway that you move through. And you move through this hallway multiple times, and one of those times, a goddamn dog jumps straight through the window. You think you're safe, but you're not. It jumps through the window and it messes with your mind, man. I spent the rest of that playthrough super afraid of windows.
I do know the exact scene you're talking about just because it's been replayed so much.
Yeah, I would
like
imagine.
across YouTube lore.
Yeah. It's one of those games that, yeah, it's a little clunky, it's a little tank control-y, but from a mood perspective, there are very few games that beat Resident Evil 1 remake.
That's what you had to do back then, because the graphical fidelity of anything was bound to be ass. So you had to spend more time on how things felt. Like Silent Hill, Resident Evil. Silent Hill is already, it's not one of my selections because people already know about Silent Hill. But it's a good example of just like it forces you to be good. It forces you to be good at shit, like the limitations of technology.
I feel like more games should limit you in that way. It shows us that sometimes a game is fun because of the rules. If we started picking up the ball in soccer with our hands, it wouldn't be as fun.
And people would look at you like you're a fucking moron.
Yes, they would. But to be fair, I get that a lot already because of, well,
because you pick up soccer balls with your hands. Obviously.
No, I was about to say, thanks to YouTube, I don't have to give a shit anymore about how people look at me. So I'll, to my
people are gonna hate me anyway.
Yeah, to my wife's chagrin, I have a tendency to do just the most random things in public, just start barking out of the blue, and she's like, not today, not today. I love it.
You ever played the old SpongeBob games for the PS2?
No, SpongeBob was like one of those shows and characters, and
You just didn't get into.
yeah, the franchise wasn't really for a little lost there.
I was one of the very few people that got into the games before I knew the show existed.
Really?
Apparently that is not possible, but I just like somehow I stayed away from that part of television like when I was like 4 or 5, I think. And my parents on one Christmas Eve, they just like bought me a bunch of fucking PS2 games because it had just come out.
Well,
And I think I actually don't remember if it was like the year that the PS2 came out or the year after. It was probably the year after because like not too many games were released on the PS2 when it came out.
yeah.
But I guess that would have made me like 5 or 6. There was this. I'm gonna send you this, and I just want you to read the title.
Okay.
If I can type it.
We're building
Okay.
suspense.
I just want Amazon. Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Amazon.
I just want you to read this title.
SpongeBob SquarePants, lights, camera, pants, PlayStation, lights, camera, pants. You're a child.
This game was shit.
The shit or shit?
It was the good kind of no, not the shit. It was shit. But it was the good kind of shit that, like, when you were a 6-year-old, you just thought was fun and you didn't really care too much about.
Yeah.
And then, like, Revenge of the Dutchman, I think, was also a game. And then Battle for Bikini Bottom was one that just got remade or rehydrated.
Yeah, that's the famous one. Yeah.
Yeah. People only played the famous one and never got into the other ones, which obviously because they just weren't as good. But I think if you're going to give a remake to that one, you should at least try and give a remake to the others, because a lot of them were very similar, if not the exact same. Like, it had the same concept.
So, PlayStation 2. Oh, yeah, well, that's that's gonna be fun, because I got my first console at age 4. My aunt was super proud of me for being at the dentist, and she bought me a Nintendo Entertainment System. I started out with the first Nintendo. That's how old I am. And by the time Nintendo 64 was there, I was heavily invested in this whole gaming thing. And one game on the Nintendo 64 that I don't see a lot of people talk about is a game called Glover 64. You know what that is?
No, like spelled like Donald Glover, like Glover 64.
Glove as in glove.
Oh my god, it looks like a.
A glove.
Is this just a platformer game where you play as a fucking glove?
Almost. Here's the thing. Glover actually has a really intriguing concept to it. Yes, you play as a glove, but at the same time, your wizard, because you're a magic glove, your wizard had a little accident and he lost
Oh my
the
god.
crystals that turned the world into a good place. Now, they fell off the castle. Luckily, you turned them into magical balls, and they bounced into the different worlds that you have to go through in order to bring them back to the castle and turn the world good again. And so you are not only controlling Glover, but you also have to control a ball, and this ball has actual physics, right? So your moveset, or the way you control your character, switches when you actually have the ball in your hand, I suppose. And you can turn it into a bowling ball, a small metal ball. You can turn it into the standard is bouncy ball, and you can turn it into a crystal. And so the whole concept of the game is you have to get through these worlds with the ball and deliver it back to the castle. And while I will freely admit the game is super janky, I haven't seen another game do what that game tried to do in that way. And for that novelty alone, I think it deserves way, way, way more love.
That doesn't sound like the worst game mechanic. Like, it just sounds like one of those things where like again, it goes back to what I was to what I was saying about like the limitations of technology forces you to be like really creative in terms of just like what you do. Because like shit like this wouldn't come out today. It wouldn't have come out 10 years ago.
No, it wouldn't.
Because like it's a fucking glove. Smack it around a ball for 6 hours. Like
this was that sounds like my Friday night.
this is the kind of game that would only come out in like the late 90s.
Yeah, this was when they had the mascot craze. You know, everybody had to have a fucking mascot.
Yeah, and PlayStation 2 still caught a little bit of that too, because everyone had to have like 30 fucking things representing their IP at once.
Yeah. But Glover was a fun game back in the day. It again,
30 IPs representing their brand.
Glover was probably a hard 5
fucking
out of 10.
Glover.
But also, it had a chicken it had a hub world, and in the hub world there was a chicken on a swing that farted and burped. And if you listen to the farts and burps long enough, they would repeat. And if you put the farts and the burps
beautiful
in the pause menu, those farts and burps were actually codes. So you could add cheat codes like that.
Dude, I miss when people put this kind of shit in games.
Yeah.
What is this shit? Is this from the game, or is this a mod?
What the hell is that?
Is that okay? So what's a mod?
That is a mod, and also I did not know that they were modding the game. I gotta take a look at a few Glover mods then.
Show that up on the podcast so people can see it. Like, take that image, because that is. I just want other people to see how cursed that is.
I didn't need sleep tonight. Thank you.
Or I'll edit it, I guess.
No.
You just. You know what? Do whatever the fuck you want. It's your channel.
Look, man. It's. I clicked on the image. It's in the recording. We're good, and you're up.
Let me think. So we've been on here for almost like an hour and a half. So I'm gonna cut mine down to a 5.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna pick the one that I think best represents the idea of like shit that nobody talks about anymore, but was still good back in the day. And I think I've got one. Fucking Dynasty Warriors bitch.
I'm guessing that you added the bitch. That's not the undertitle of the game.
Well, I added the fucking too.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fair.
It's just Dynasty Warriors. There were like 6 of these motherfuckers that came out like just on the PS1, I think. Like it was I might be misremembering, but to my knowledge, like continuing into the PS2, and I'm looking it up just to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was one of those game franchises that they just couldn't fucking stop making sequels to. You know, like one of those.
Yeah.
And it got to like, I think it got to like 5 or 6. I think 6 ended up coming out on the PS3. But it was just like, you know, those one-man army kind of segments you see in games like God of War, Heavenly Sword, I think, had one at the beginning. Just the catharsis that you get from like being in a setting like that.
And pushing you away through all of those menial little bitches with your superpowered sword.
Like 1 against 2,000-3,000 dudes.
Yeah.
But the PS2 had such piss graphical capabilities that you could only load in like 30 at the same time. And it was just an era of games that I really missed. It wasn't even like a specific type of game because it wasn't even a subgenre. It was just a type of thing that happened in games sometimes. It was too popular to be called a trope, I think. If it was a trope, it was very overdone. But it wasn't established enough to be like its own subgenre of like action game. It's just something that happened every now and then, and you were just like, oh fuck yeah, I get to do this. I get to mow down an entire army with with 1 spear. It's gonna be awesome. That is all of Dynasty Warriors. That is just what that is.
Didn't they make like a Zelda version of that a little while ago?
Maybe. I don't give a shit about Nintendo.
Okay. Fair enough.
But it's just like I miss games that did that, because you could even choose between like different fighters. You could choose like characters and shit that had different weapons and different capabilities and ults. You had ultimates in a PS2 game.
Hey,
they didn't call them ultimates. They just called them special abilities or something or other.
Yeah, but
it was an ult. It was an ult.
That was basically what it is.
Yeah, it's just fun. I wish people would remake that shit.
So when was the last Dynasty Warrior game then?
I think it was oh my god, does anyone know when Dynasty Warriors 10 should be releasing? What the shit?
Oh Jesus Christ.
They're still going. I stopped at 5.
Dude, okay, so I'm looking at the timeline here.
They're still going.
Dynasty Warriors 1, or it was in 1997. And they're at Dynasty Warriors 9 that was released in 2018.
What the fuck?
Probably like spin-offs as well.
Yeah, there were a few spin-offs. I think Warriors Orochi was one of them. I don't remember if it was PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3, but it was like one of those border games that kind of came out in both.
Yeah.
I know Gundam had a few. I never played those, though.
There's also a movie. A Dynasty Warriors movie.
So maybe people do talk about this game. I don't know. Like, if 10's coming out soon, then fuck me.
Well, I don't know if it's coming out soon, but...
Well, more people need to play them.
Fair.
Is my stance.
Fair enough. And that's...
Because we're on 10, and 1 and 2 haven't been remade. And I don't know how we got to that point, like, with the climate being what it is today.
All right. And so, well, since we went to top 5 instead of top 10, because quite frankly, I like the idea of not editing a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah, this is going to be long enough.
Yeah. I'm going to go to my top game, and it's a game that I really feel deserves a lot more credit, and this is also the Nintendo 64. This is Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. Do you know any of those words?
I know Goemon is a Persona
From the Persona games? Yeah,
from
well,
Persona games. That's all I know about Goemon.
well, Goemon is a character from Japanese folklore. You can think of him as the Japanese Robin Hood, except he and his son was boiled alive, I think. Yeah, I think that happened. And so they decided to,
Japan's so fucking cool.
well, they decided to turn that story into a children's game. And so in
Nice.
in this game is basically a Legend of Zelda style adventure, but they were released, I think Goemon was released a little earlier, or at the very least they were in development at the same time.
Oh, is this like this is an old Konami game?
Yeah, this was before Konami turned evil, by the way.
This is before Konami sucked ass.
Yeah, before they decided to just diarrhea over all of their franchises. And did you know they made a machine called Sexual Violence?
I did.
Yeah, it was a Castlevania
awful.
sexual. But anyway, don't get me started on that. We'll stay here forever.
This channel isn't monetized. It's all good.
Yeah, fair enough. The thing is, I absolutely adored the humor in this game. They added laugh tracks in this game. There was a goddamn opera in this game.
They added laugh tracks.
Yeah, and it was such a bizarre experience because they added laugh tracks, but the translation didn't actually translate the jokes properly.
Oh no.
They translated what was said, but it was just like they would say something like, "So you're the bad guy," and then suddenly there's just a laugh track in the back, and I'm like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And
Yes, it's time for you to go to jail.
and the
It's
game,
like something that's not even a joke.
yeah. Speaking of that type of stuff, the game opens with one of the main characters, because you actually have 4 characters you could switch between, but one of the main characters, Ibisumaru, he and Goemon are running away from a store owner because Ibisumaru took off all of his clothes and tried to hypnotize him into giving them food for free. That's how the game starts. And then they are running away. You hear this shaking thing happen, and then there's a spaceship over, I think it's medieval Japan, but a spaceship arrives and it takes control over the castle, the Edo castle, which is where the emperor and the princess lives. And so they have to save them. And there are also huge, because this is Japan, there are huge robots involved. So I'm just gonna show you this. And if you don't like this, you don't have a soul. This is Impact Mystical Ninja. This is one of the most amazing things that you will ever. We just need this thing. All right, where do I share this from? Oh yeah, so it's from share. It's from 1 minute and 14 seconds. You watch this, and if you don't like this, you don't have a soul. 1 minute
The
14.
randomizer. Oh, that's the channel name. Uh Nice horn, bro. What the fuck? Music's good.
I mean, this is my childhood. Hey.
How many hays are there in this?
Oh, I don't know, man.
I hope there are a lot. Breakdown. People were fucking crazy
Now, I don't know if
back
you
then.
if you keep watching from like 2.5 minutes, you are now a giant robot
You're
who.
now just killing shit.
Yeah, I don't understand why the robot is actually hitting all of the buildings.
I imagine that like while this happy like upbeat tune is playing, you're just mowing down thousands of innocent people in real life that live in those buildings.
And I
In
don't know.
like full graphic detail while the music is playing.
Yeah, well, that's basically how it works. So you're killing all of the innocents for some reason, and then you fight the robot at the end. It is absolutely batshit crazy, and I loved every single second of it.
There's so many explosions.
Yeah, man. It had so many. It had like the Dungeons of Zelda. It had these types of bosses. It had Zelda types bosses. It had like tons of mini games, and it did all of these things, and they did it solidly. Not every single mini game was a hit, but at the same time, none of them were a dud either. So, yeah, this game deserves all the fucking love.
I think that scene by itself deserves some more attention.
Yeah. It really does. And that was, ladies and gentlemen, 10 games that we think deserves more attention.
It was technically 10. You can still label this a top 10. And
Oh, I can. Yeah. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was 5 each.
It was 5 each. And yeah,
You can still get away with that.
we made this honestly, I thought our conversation about you were going to last like half an hour, and then we're going to rapidly move through the rest of it, but I had a good time, good sir.
Yeah, it was fun. I haven't been on a podcast in a long time. And it's just fun to just talk and shoot shit and share experiences with people.
Oh, do you want to plug your
People know who I am. Who
well,
cares?
this video is gonna get
Rusty on
160 viewers. Come on, man.
Rusty on YouTube. There you go. Just I do Souls, Elden Ring. I've been getting into Armored Core shit lately.
I mean,
I'll do more of that.
I think they know that because we spent a lot of time talking about your YouTube channel.
Also, Hollow Knight.
Also,
well, you told me to plug. I'm plugging.
Okay, well, I have been thoroughly plugged by you then.
Get plugged. Everyone is now plugged.
Okay.
It's not monetized. What are you worried about?
No, I'm not. Look, even if I was monetized, this would definitely still be in this. That's how we do it in Discord with the boys.
Yeah. Because we're genuine.
We are genuine.
Like us, please.
Please hit that like button.
Don't forget to like the video.
Do you think likes actually do anything anymore?
No.
No, me neither.
No, subs don't do anything anymore. Like just, you know what? You know the one thing you can do that'll help creators out if you want to like support. Put the video on loop and go and fucking make lunch, and just give us all that watch time. That's what you can do to help. If you like this video, watch it again.
Not even watch it. Just go to. How do we set things on loop again? I
put it on desktop. You right click the video and it's like there's like a loop.
Oh, there is one. Up. Yeah. So just click on the actual video. There's a loop there. Press play and then go out
on
there.
To your next video.
Yeah.
Just keep this one running. That's how you help YouTubers.
All right.
Fuck the like button.